sometimes the British way is different from the American way. I have great respect for the people. I'm speaking, would you all be quiet? I have great respect of the people from England. They seem to know American English much better than we know British English. And if the British say something that we don't understand, you know, their slang or just different usage, if I ask them, well, what does that mean, they're almost always able to explain to me. I don't know if he's living or not. I've lost track. We've lost touch. But a British gentleman came to the library where I was working when I was a graduate student. He was a graduate student from Cambridge University. And anytime he would use a British word that I didn't understand, he immediately could explain it in American English that I could understand. And continue, everybody. So let's, AAD, ad is the short form of advertisement. The British form would be advert, or plural, adverts. Adverts. We don't use the word omnibus anymore, but many years ago, we had a bus company in New York City before all the bus companies were combined. It was called the New York Omnibus Company. We don't use the word omnibus, we say bus. If I said to somebody, have you seen any omnibuses today? Most people, well, many people would not understand right away what you meant. Now, the next word, influenza, people do understand right away. And again, the abbreviated form is the flu. Have you all had your flu shots? Have you all had your flu shots? Yes or no? If you haven't, I would suggest that you get one. I don't know if you all have to pay or not. Certain people don't have to pay very much. Because of my age, and they've lowered the age now, I think, to 50. It used to be 55, now it's 50. All I had to do was just to go to our Gensuo and pay the Guahao fee. Yes, now teachers, we have to pay a Guahao fee. It's not very much. We should quite get. It's okay. But until 2 years ago, we didn't have to pay at all. Extra benefit, though. And so they would give us flu shots, no extra charge. Certain babies, I don't know what the ages are, but certain very, very young people are able to get flu shots with no extra charge. And now, this year, the flu shots are readily available. There was some time in the past where flu shots were not all that easy to find. We had to wait a little while. Sometimes we had to reserve. But continue, everybody. National is N-A-T''L. That's the short form of how we write it. We speak it the same way. So if you want to write it in a short form, the abbreviation is N-A-T''L, but we would speak by saying national. We don't say national, okay? We would speak it by saying national. Pop music, right? Pop is the abbreviation for popular. And we speak now in English of Cantopop, Cantonese popular music, and Bandopop, Mandarin popular music, okay? I guess it's Thai pop for Thai unit popular music. I really don't know. Pay attention to the English newspaper and see how they describe it. All right, bicycle is abbreviated as bike. So that's an irregular form, but it's a form that somebody made up. By the way, a lot of words are made up by newspaper reporters. A lot of words are made up by newspaper reporters, and then getting a thing like a sickness, they spread to other parts of the United States or other parts of the English-speaking world. Movie, M-O-V, and then I guess it'd be M-O-V-I, and then add an E on the end. Movie is the short form of moving picture. Many years ago, when movies were invented, they used this standard form, moving picture, and then somebody just thought, well, we've got to have a shorter form. Moving picture sounds too formal, F-O-R-M-A-L, too formal. Thank God, good day. So they came up with this form of movie, M-O-V-I from moving, and then they added a suffix of E to good day. Okay? Acronyms, an acronym is something that can be pronounced. NATO stands for North American Treaty Organization. ROC for the Republic of China, we don't usually speak that. As somebody pointed out in a newspaper article one day, ROC is not actually an acronym, but it is an abbreviation. It is an abbreviation. A real acronym can be spoken. NATO can be spoken, okay? S-C-O-U-S. Scotus. I can't really speak it. Supreme Court of the United States is what it stands for. POUS, P-O-U-S, President of the United States. People think of these new Hong Kong pronunciation of characters is different. For Wu, I think it's in the Cantonese pronunciation of characters is different from the Mandarin pronunciation of the same character. All right. Sometimes you will see the words rat-a-tat. Those words are used to imitate a gun that repeats. It's a repeating gun, a gun that constantly shoots people. It's a gun used by soldiers. They usually call it an automatic machine gun. They have this long, I don't know how to describe it. They have this long tape with many, many, many bullets in it. They put it in the machine gun, and then somebody aims it at the correct person or place and pulls and Well, they put that noise in writing as rat-a-tat. Rat-a-tat can also imitate maybe somebody knocking on a door continuously. All right, so on page 109, maybe you have wondered how words are formed. Here are some ways that words are formed. Maybe in your reading class, you have learned other ways in which a word is formed. Now we go to headlines. I'm probably not going to be able to finish all of this and Chinese headlines either. I started reading the newspaper, I can remember at least back when I was 11 or 10 years old. and I just somehow automatically understood the headlines. So it takes practice, ladies and gentlemen, when you read the headlines of an English newspaper, just like it takes us practice when we read the headlines. You must remember that the headlines are bigger in size. The function is to get the attention of the reader. And we hope, the writer of the article hopes that you'll read the whole article. Okay. Here are some essential, that means basic characteristics of a headline. The use of the simple present tense is used to show, indicate means to show an action or event that happened in the past. 200 GIs actually means government inductees. That means soldiers who were required to go to the army. Well, we'll just change it. GIs, this is a good example of a headline, using abbreviations whenever possible. When we speak, we usually would say GIs. We would not say government inductees. 200 GIs clash with 50 Koreans. All right, it actually took place in the past, so it should be it should be clashed, ed, but to save space, they use the present tense, right? Mr. Liu wins Japan Golf Prize in playoff. Well, actually, it should be Mr. Liu won. Now, why do they use wins? Well, it's just Shiguan, Joe Holland. Cabbie murderer gets death. That means he has already been given the death punishment. There's something in the news not too long ago about a cabbie who murdered, I think it was a little light bulb. Was that a cabbie? Somebody got very angry at this little girl who was. Our subways are pretty safe. The stations are pretty safe, except there is one line, I'm sorry, that line, the green line in a certain area goes to Afro-American, the place where many Afro-Americans live. And they've had some trouble on that line. It's embarrassing to Afro-Americans. Some Afro-Americans are economically very challenged. They have jobs that don't pay very much. They work very hard. But you have in Chinese, you would say these huaidan, these people who enter homes as burglars or even worse, robbers. In New York City, one of my friends lived in Pelham, P-E-L-H-A-M. It's just outside of New York City, going north. And he told me whenever he went, as he called it, to the city, people refer to New York City as just the city. I'm going to the city. He always carried money with him. He always carried at least $20 in case he met somebody who needed money for drugs. There is help for people who unfortunately have the drug habit. Many drug people would like to break the habit and they just can't do it. Right? Russians said, that means it is said that the Russians have been said to be spying in Canadian waters. After a historical event, we learn about things. World War II ended a number of years ago, but recently some documents have been made public. And apparently some German submarines came a bit too close to the United States during World War II. We're not surprised that this happened. but it's very shocking. 继续, the omission of the verb to be unless it's needed to avoid ambiguity. Ambiguity means to avoid vagueness. South Africa optimistic about future of gold. That means South Africa is optimistic about the future of gold. Now the price of gold is up. Many years ago it was not so high. Late hour accord is likely. That means a late hour agreement is likely to take place in the United States. An agreement between the United States and the United Kingdom. United Kingdom means it means England, it means Wales, it means Scotland. France bound, that means France is bound, that means that has two meanings. It could mean France is sure, or it could mean France must. France is bound to accept the World Court's jurisdiction. Again, bound here could have two meanings. You have to read the article to be sure. It could mean France must accept the World Court jurisdiction, or it could mean France is sure to accept the World Court jurisdiction. A headline may have just a short phrase for effective purposes. All right, sanatorium for needy. That's about a feature article about a sanatorium. A sanatorium is where people who have mental problems are kept. It can also be a place like Leshan near Huilong. Is it Leshan? Where people with a certain disease, I can't remember, what situation do they have?
麻风病
Huh?
麻风病热身疗养院
What's it called? What's the name of that? I cannot remember what the name of the illness they have is. I'm sorry. You just say it was called 什么疗养院呢？
麻风病疗养院热身疗养院
and I can't remember what the particular illness is. Continue, everybody. Butterfly Park in the south. I'm sure it's a feature article about an area in southern Taiwan where there's an area where there are many butterflies. The next one is very standard, local news in brief. You will find that at the top of a column, very short articles about news in Taiwan. Okay, just very short paragraphs briefly about certain news in Taiwan. Well, I don't know if Taiwan is still selling rice to Manila or not, but this is very obvious with the meaning, Taiwan rice for Manila. If you turn to the next page, please, to a clinic. All right, A is the article, with J. There has been a new crackdown. A crackdown means getting strict on auto pollution. There is a sanatorium is for the needy. Sometimes we use the comma to represent the word and. Severe quake hits Chile and Argentina. Right? But a severe quake hit both Chile and Argentina. A bus collision kills 2 and injured 3. The United States and Russia are to enlarge, that means to make bigger, nuclear test ban discussions. She's still alive. She doesn't play tennis anymore. She used to go by her married name of Chris Everett Lloyd. She's no longer married as Chris Everett Lloyd. She's just Chris Everett. Chris Everett and the Russian girl, Chris Everett and a Russian girl enter the Wembley finals. Wembley means finals, a tennis match, by the way, at a place called Wimbledon. The use of the semicolon is used to separate two independent clauses with two different events. All right, India goes nuclear, right? And the result, the United States is concerned. I use a semicolon to separate two independent clauses. Hua has fired some dissidents, people who disagree with him. Doug return likely. I'm sure this referred to Doug Lee June's return. Ms. Dunn's return is likely. We use the colon. Pay attention, the colon is different from the semicolon. The colon has 两个点，上面、下面，对不对? Right? Is used to indicate the source or sources of the news. It also can take the place, is used to take the place of a verb. So you might say, according to Mr. Shen, the United Republic of China will overcome any difficulty. So the source of the news was somebody named Shen. Many scholars are going to return from the United States, according to Dr. Shen. He's still living. He's very famous. He's older than I am. His name is Chen Fu. 一块钱的钱，父亲的父，好像是. He's active in politics in many years. My graduate classmate who was then teaching in a university, and I had the opportunity to meet him. He studied political science at Yale University, and one of his techniques was to purposely go in the cafeteria. The interested people would come to talk with him and ask him some very challenging questions, so that help him to think quickly in English as his second language. He speaks English very well, by the way. We don't expect people to speak English, absolutely perfectly, but he's almost perfect. And he's a very intelligent gentleman. Very intelligent gentleman. Some people don't like him. Well, when you're involved in government and at a high level, sometimes people don't like you. Super big, right? But anyway, he's a very intelligent gentleman. 最近没有他的消息. The last time I heard about him, he had a position in the 考试院, how do you say, 警察院, in the control yuan. All right, secret diplomacy is unavoidable, according to Dr. K. So according to Dr. Kissinger, he believed that secret diplomacy was unavoidable. So sometimes a colon is, the examples here I've given you are to indicate the source of news. One more thing, and then I'll quit. Page 113 at the top. When people are not sure about whether an event is going to take place or whether they have enough information about the news, Chen in critical condition, all right? That means is a person named Chen in critical condition, yes or no? We just don't know. Alright, so today we finished through page 113. I'm very sorry. 114, 115. I have much more in here to teach you. But we have holidays. Sometimes I'm able to finish everything, sometimes I'm not. Grant, you have this handout. Would you get in, some of you, would you please get in contact with your classmates who are not here today? We don't know if the classmates are going to take the final exam or not, but if you see your classmates, would you please get in touch with them? Are you two in the same band, yes or no? Good.
No.
You are Ivan or Jaban?
加班
Okay, 你公开的 when in the 必修的课 if you have any 必修 oh, this is the last day, you won't see them. Well, maybe you can send an email if you see if there are any of your classmates who are not here today, and Donald, you're in the other fund also. If you see anybody who's not here who usually comes, I have one more thing to say and then I'll be quiet. I hope you will have found this class to be interesting. I hope you find it to be useful in the future when you take other classes. Next year, I'm probably going to allow more people to register. Which is Shikwan, I'm accustomed to the fact that people drop out along the way. That doesn't bother me. Because you all as freshmen have a rather heavy load. So next, and somebody, one student who was in it, this year we went up to 40. I allowed 40 people to register, and so next year I'm going to go up to 45. But this happens, just people are so busy. Some people are working full time. It's not easy, right? Conway, you're working full time. I think you are too, right? Those of you who are working full time, it's not easy. But if people are really interested, they can do like the gentleman in the back of the room. I don't know your English name. What's your English name? Mia, what's your English name? What's the English name? I can't hear you. 你有一个英文的名字吗 What is it? 你的英文名字呢 How do you spell it?
Neil.
N-E-I-L? Oh, Neil. Okay, thank you. People who are really interested, of course, can come to this class and just sit in, you know. So see you all next week. Same time, same place. Good luck on all your exams, especially your literature exams.